Good morning to you, BIS Hanoi. Greetings. I want to talk to you today about something very, very important, which is your safety. We have a duty of care to you, which we take very, very seriously, and your safety is very, very close to our hearts. And I think that something that really, really does highlight a difference in terms of attitudes towards safety. The two items that I want to show you today. This is the Vietnamese anti-COVID mask, wearing it proudly. Got my flag, got my star here on my mask. And Vietnamese people and the Korean community, they embrace the whole concept of the mask. It is a game changer. It keeps you safe in COVID times. And everybody does it. Nobody complains, nobody forgets. They just stick it on and they're safe. And the Brits took about a year to get used to the concept of wanting to wear a mask. There was lots and lots of resistance. Oh no, we're not wearing masks. And only now they've realised that actually masks do make a difference. And most people are now beginning to wear it. The other item I want to show you is my chair in my car. This is a little car here, as you can see. I'm going to go off for a spin in my car. And to do that, by the way, I'm British now. This is what the Brits do all the time. Is they belt up, they buckle up. They've been doing that for a long time, and they've seen road deaths and injuries on the roads and car crashes fall significantly. They are a fraction of what they were 30 years ago. And yes, it might be due to better vehicles and braking systems, but this was the original piece that brought those road deaths and injuries down. And largely everybody in the United Kingdom wears seatbelts. They don't wear masks, but they wear seatbelts. And I still battle today because I often see when I'm cycling around with my helmet on in Vinhomes, I often see many of you in cars, and particularly children in the back seat with their heads out the window. They're clearly not belted in. And I want to put it to you that you do that every single time you get in a car. It doesn't matter if you're just going to Alma's from Hoa Sua Ba. That's irrelevant. Every single journey you should belt up, because you don't know if you're going to have an accident. And if you are wearing a seatbelt, the chances of you being injured or being flung out of the car to a very early death or a life-changing injury are cut substantially. Seatbelts save lives. You've done it on the buses. We want you to do it in the vehicles. Tell your parents too. Tell your aunties and uncles. We don't want to get news of you that you've been injured. So please do take heed. Very sound advice. And now on to the really important topic of helmets, because when I cycle around, walk around Vinhomes, I see so many of you on bikes, either riding them or as passengers with scant regard for wearing any sort of helmet. Now I know that lots of people do that in Vietnam. I mean, we see that, but it is actually the law for you to always wear a helmet. And it's not the law just because it's a law because it keeps you safe, and you're going to see that. And helmets are different. What we sometimes see in Vietnam is the really open helmets with no cover down the sides, and actually it's got a hole in the back for girls to put their ponytails through. It offers scant safety or protection in the face of a face-on accident, and you're going to see in a short while how dangerous they can be. There are other helmets which will cover from the side, and there is a full cover helmet, which is the helmet that will offer you maximum security. So, how good are helmets? What do they do? Why do we really need to wear them? I've got a video for you to watch.
Welcome back. Helmets are designed to prevent skull fracture and to slow down the jelly mass of your brain so it doesn't tear itself apart on impact. But there are limits. Humans are fragile. Now let's go find out how they work. properly fitting helmet is your best choice to protect from serious or even fatal head injury. In fact, a head injury is the most common cause of death for motorcyclists. Helmets are most effective at neutralising glancing blows rather than dead-stop impacts. Thankfully, glancing blows are the norm in crashes.
But if you ran full tilt at a telephone pole, you would exceed the engineering limitations of even the very best helmet.
What we do know from the best studies that in the event of a crash, a motorcycle helmet will reduce your risk of death by 42% and reduce the risk of head injury by 69%.
Here's a breakdown of the areas on a helmet most often damaged in a crash. Studies have shown 3/4 of impact damage happens on the front of helmets. The front, visor and chin bar areas get the most damage, which means over a third of all head injuries, primarily to the face, would not be covered by an open face compared to a full face helmet. This rises to almost 40% for a half shell. Standards and impact testing of all helmet types is incredibly important. We visited Crash Lab in Sydney to better understand the tests they do. The outer shell is the first line of protection. It works with the strap to keep the helmet on your head. It will flex in a crash and may crack. The inner impact absorption layer is the critical stage of defence. It's made up of EPS, better known as expanded polystyrene. The density and thickness of the EPS makes a huge difference to how well it cushions your brain. Newer helmets have low density EPS against your head and harder EPS against the shell, so a relatively minor impact doesn't give you a concussion. The strap is critical for keeping the helmet on your head in a crash. Helmets come off in around 11% of all crashes, which is frightening. This can also happen if the helmet is too big, even when the strap is done up. Proper fit is essential for effective protection.
I mean, it really is just conveying that a motorcycle helmet's going to stop your brain from bouncing around inside your skull when you have a crash. Systematic reviews, like the study that we did, can't tell you which particular helmets are the best helmets to wear. But if you're wearing a helmet that fits you correctly and is appropriately standard certified, that's going to give you the best protection in the event of a crash.
So do yourself a favour and wear one. You know it makes sense.
It's quite shocking, wasn't it? Wow. Let that not be you. I really, really hope so. Helmets, and particularly an appropriate helmet, one that has been checked, one that comes of a certain standard, is critical for your safety. Here's a full face helmet that was involved in a motorbike accident. As you can see, it's taken quite a beating, but it wasn't the person's face or head that took the beating. And I know it's hot in Vietnam, and I know that it can be uncomfortable, but there are air vents that these helmets have. Please, please, when you're on a bike, wear a helmet. And later on in life, when you own a bike, a motorbike, wear a helmet. It'll keep you safe, and it is the law. And on the topic of vehicles and bikes, unless you're 16, you should not be riding them. It is against the law in Vietnam to be riding a bike, even if it's up to 50 cc's, until you're 16 years of age. Anything bigger than that, you're going to need to have a license for. I see you on bikes, on motorbikes, and you're not old enough to ride them. And particularly if you're not wearing a helmet too. Golf buggies. Golf buggies, you need to have a license to drive them. It doesn't matter what age you are. And they're only to be used within VIN homes, but they're not for you. You can sit on the back, but you can't ride them. That's really, really dangerous. And I see that. BIS Hanoi students, we just care about you. We really, really do. And we do not want you involved in accidents with regrets for the rest of your life. Please take heed of the advice that you've been given today. Thank you. Stay safe.